The Minecraft world is at war. On one side we have the 1.9 combat system, the new way of fighting, and on the other side we have the 1.8 and older combat system. Nostalgic, fast, and furious. This battle has raged for years, splitting the Minecraft community. But what if combat never changed? And we never had a split. Part 1. The history of combat. Let's rewind to the early days of Minecraft, before cooldowns or shields even existed. Combat in Minecraft was as simple as it gets. You had your sword, your trusty bow, and if you were feeling a little adventurous, a flint and steel. You'd point and click, no strategy required, just whack things until they died. And we loved it. It was pure chaos. The bows were like machine guns too. There were no timers, no complex mechanics, just a player, a sword, and a dream. Fighting mobs like skeletons and zombies were the baseline. Nothing too fancy. It was simple, like just hit them until they stopped moving. That said, it worked perfectly for the early game. After all, who needs intricate mechanics when you can just build a simple dirt hut and punch a creeper to death? Right? Like, seriously, this was Minecraft. Why would we need more than that? But then came 1.8. The final old combat update. This kept the old critical hit system, whereby, if you timed your attacks just right, you could deal massive damage. But still, you could spam click all you wanted. There were no cooldowns or shields. You just had to click like your life depended on it, hoping to get that wonderful critical hit. And who could forget about the enchantments? Sharpness, unbreaking, and fire aspect. All those little additions that made you feel like a wizard. When you had an enchanted sword in your inventory, you felt like you were a god. Sure, you would get killed by a skeleton the second you left your house, or a creeper would just annihilate you if you weren't paying attention, but hey, thanks to this update, you looked cool while fighting. But then there was 1.9. This was the big one, the game changer. Suddenly we had cooldowns. You could no longer just spam click your way to victory. No. Now you had to wait. And wait. And wait for that bar to fill up before swinging your sword was even effective. If you attacked too early, well, tough luck. Your attack would be useless. And swords now did less damage than axes. Which was just kind of weird. And different items had different timings to them. And they also added shields. It was just so confusing. Now there was actual strategy involved that was needed in order to succeed in Minecraft battles. For many, that just wasn't what the game was meant to be like. You could still fight, sure, but the carefree chaos of what combat once was had officially gone. In its place was something more thoughtful. Thoughtfulness in Minecraft combat? To many, this just felt like a betrayal. So to reiterate, combat had just rapidly evolved. It was now slower, more deliberate, and, well, for most people, a lot less fun. But that was just the beginning. The real drama didn't come from the change itself, it came from how the community reacted. And that, my friends, is where the real story begins. Part 2. The Split. You see, when 1.9 introduced all those changes to combat, it wasn't just the gameplay that was affected. The community fractured. It was like a Minecraft block taking a creeper blast. Suddenly, servers became divided. Some clung to the fast-paced, spam-clicky glory days of 1.8, while others embraced the new improved combat system of 1.9 and above. And so the war had just begun. On one side we had the 1.8 loyalists, holding their ground like proud knights in a war that no one else seemed to really care about. But still, they loved the speed, the rhythm of spam clicking, and the predictability of combat. And honestly, I kinda get it. It was fun, it was simple, there was an instant gratification of winning, or if you were me, more likely losing. The The point is, a victor was declared quite quickly in the 1.8 battles. It was just a quick fight, and that's that. Meanwhile, on the other side of the chasm, you had the 1.9 plus players, who, in their mind, were living the dream. They had shields to block arrows, sweeping edge to slice through mobs, and a combat system that made every fight feel like it had weight. Like you were a military king in the medieval times. Minus the lack of internet. The battles on 1.9 were more dramatic and more drawn out. The tension was high. A victory was something you had to earn over the course of a battle, not something you could gain with ease in a mere few seconds. The servers that mostly decided to stick with 1.8, well, they became like a time capsule, a preserved relic of a bygone era. Sure, you could still get your PvP fix, but you weren't seeing any new fancy features. No fancy shields, no new combat mechanics. It was like those players were trapped in a time bubble, forever stuck in the 1.8 days, while the rest of the community just moved on. It's kind of sad when you think about it. They missed out on all these amazing new things, like the new armor sets from Netherite, because apparently diamonds just don't cut it anymore. New weapons like the Trident, which, let's be honest, are just really cool. Like, who doesn't want to beat a subscribe button to death and strike it with lightning? Like Zeus. And let's not forget about the mace, which definitely looks like something you'd want to swing around when you're feeling extra heroic. 1.8 players would get, well, none of that. They were trapped in the past. And then there were the new bosses, like the Warden, which was a whole new level of terrifying. It was a great part of combat. PvE combat was just better in the newer versions, with greater variety of mobs, and more strategic options for you to use. It was just more fun in every direction, but the 1.8 players, they were left behind in the dust. No Wardens to fight, no Tridents to throw. They were living in a version of Minecraft that was getting older by the day. It didn't take too long before the Minecraft community was divided, not just by version, but by opinions. Oh yeah, it became a full-on debate. You were either pro 1.8 or pro 1.9. Spam clicking for life versus, ooh, shiny shield. The forums were a battleground, and people didn't hold back. Arguments raged for years. Who was right? Was 1.8 combat superior for its speed? Or was 1.9 plus superior for its strategy? But here's the thing. While this divide was pretty intense, some servers tried to fix it. They made plugins and mods that allowed players from different versions to play together. It was like trying to merge two different Minecraft worlds. And sometimes, it actually worked. But even with these solutions, the culture still felt divided. There was always a little tension in the air. The 1.8 crowd wanted to keep that fast-paced action, while the 1.9 plus crowd were like, yeah, that's fine, but we're playing the real strategic combat game of Minecraft now, not your primitive spam-clicky nonsense. Also, the merge plugins always felt a little glitchy. It was the ultimate Minecraft fight. Speed versus strategy, simplicity versus depth. It was PvP politics, and no one was backing down. Minecraft combat had become a symbol of something deeper, an ongoing debate over what direction the game should go in, and how far it was willing to evolve before it lost the magic that made it so great in the first place. So to reiterate, the combat split was real. It wasn't just a change in mechanics, it was a shift in culture, in identity, and in how we thought about Minecraft itself. The 1.8 warriors stayed in their time capsule, while the 1.9 plus players moved forward into the unknown. And while they fought on the forums and in the game, one question lingered. What if this split never happened? Part 3. No more split. Okay, so let's imagine a world where the combat split never happened. Mojang decided to keep things simple, you know? No cooldown, no shields, no sweeping attacks, just a classic 1.8 spam click combat forever. what would Minecraft look like today? And how would that have shaped the culture of the game? Buckle up, because this alternative timeline, well, it's interesting to say the least. Impact 1. Competitive PvP stagnates. First up, competitive PvP. Let's face it, 1.8 combat is fun, but it's also kind of a one-trick pony. Spam clicking rewards speed and precision, sure, but after years of the exact same mechanics, things might have started to feel a little stale. The strategies wouldn't evolve much, and every fight would look more or less the same. Without new mechanics to shake things up, competitive PvP could have turned into a repetitive grind. It's like playing rock paper subscribe, but everyone keeps picking the great subscribe button. It's great, but you can't keep doing it over and over again for the rest of time. So while some players might thrive on mastering a single system, a lot of others might have gotten bored, and likely would have moved on to other games entirely. So potentially we might have seen a fall in the online interest of Minecraft combat, which could have led to a decline in popularity, and thus a smaller player base overall for Minecraft. Impact 2. New weapons and mobs would feel unbalanced. Let's talk about the mobs and weapons. Without the 1.9 combat system, things like the trident, crossbows, or even netherite swords would feel weird. Imagine trying to fight a warden with nothing but spam clicking and no shield. It just wouldn't feel right. It's meant to be a strategic tiptoe around the ancient city, and a strategic battle if you encounter one. Not something you just spam click onto. And weapons like the trident or crossbow would lose their flair. In fact, the trident's cool charge and throw mechanic, yeah, it wouldn't fit into a system where every game is just about how fast you can click. Mojang might have even skipped these additions entirely, leaving the game stuck with just swords and bows for eternity. Fun, but it's kind of dull over time, right? Impact 3. Less incentive to explore and fight. Combat affects exploration too. Without a combat overhaul, Minecraft's more dangerous areas wouldn't feel so, well, dangerous. End cities, woodland mansions, or the deep dark, they'd lose some of their thrills if all the fights were just the same old spam clicking routine. You'd still go to these places, but the challenge wouldn't evolve. It'd be like solving the same puzzle over and over. It's fun for the first few times, sure, but eventually you'd know exactly what to expect. The 1.9 combat system made these places a unique challenge each time, where you needed a different strategy for each location. But if we're just with 1.8, that's not the case. We're just gonna keep doing the same spam clicky routine, no matter where we are. And that's just a bit boring, right? Impact 4. Servers stay more united, but maybe a little less exciting. Now, one big upside to sticking with 1.8 combat, servers would have been a lot more united. No more debates about versions, no plugins to bridge the gap, and no need to pick a side. Everyone would be playing the same game, on the same version, with the same rules. For server admins, this would have been a dream. No headaches trying to support multiple versions or tweak combat systems to keep everyone happy. And for players, it would have meant bigger, more active communities across the board. Simplicity has its perks when coming to combat, but here's the catch. Without new combat mechanics to experiment with, servers might have struggled to stay fresh. PvP modes would feel samey after a few years. And sure, there are mods, but those aren't accessible to the average player, and we're focusing on default vanilla Minecraft. Impact 5, less strategy, more chaos. One of the biggest complaints, or compliments, depending on how you look at it, about 1.8 combat, is that it's all about chaos. Click faster, hit harder, repeat. Sure, that's fun in small doses, but it doesn't leave a lot of room for strategy. Shields, cooldowns, and sweeping attacks gave combat depth. You had to think about positioning, timings, and even the tools you brought to the fight. In a world without the split, Minecraft combat would be less about planning, and more about who can jitter-click their mouse the fastest, like it owes them money. That's fine for some players, but for others, it'd get old fast. But hey, at least the battles would be quicker. Impact 6. Fewer cultural divides. Less debate. Here's one positive outcome. No split, no debate. No 1.8 versus 1.9 wars. The community would have been a lot more harmonious. And let's be real, that's a rare thing for the internet. But at the same time, would the community still be as passionate? The combat split inspired countless YouTube videos, forum threads, and discussions that kept Minecraft in the spotlight. Without that spark of controversy, maybe Minecraft culture wouldn't feel as alive. Sometimes a little chaos keeps things in the public conscience. Would YouTubers such as Dream or Technoblade have risen to their heights without the divide? Would their battle have ever happened? Would all the related events from that even occur, such as the Dream SMP and the massive impact that has had on the culture? Probably not. And so the cultural impact of a combat split could have been immense. Impact 7. Mojang's legacy. Let's talk about Mojang for a moment. Sticking with 1.8 combat would have made their job a lot easier. No redesigning combat mechanics, no angry community backlash, but it also would have made Mojang seem less bold. The combat update showed that they were willing to take risks, even if it upset some players. If they never updated combat, Minecraft updates might have felt safe, comfortable. But that's not what Minecraft's about. It's about pushing boundaries, even if it causes a few rage quits along the way. And do they really need less work to do? Like, come on, it's Mojang. So here we are. Minecraft combat did split, yet the community has adapted, mostly, and the game is still a global phenomenon. Maybe the split wasn't perfect, but it gave us choice. And the boundless expanse of variety is what makes Minecraft, well, Minecraft. It's the game of endless opportunities. But hey, if you thought a changed combat system was a wild ride, just imagine a world where Minecraft itself never existed at all. Don't worry though, I've got a video for that. Go on, click it. You know you want to.